and Literature Education, Javanese language. Faculty of Mathematics, Science, and Information Technology Education. This faculty has study programs of Mathematics Education, Biology Education, Physics Education, and Information Technology Education. The vision of this faculty is to be an excellent and distinguished faculty of mathematics, natural science, and information technology education by 2025. Faculty of Engineering and Informatics, established on April 17, 2014. This faculty has 6 study programs, namely Architecture, Mechanical Engineering, Civil Engineering, Electrical Engineering, Informatics, and Food Technology. Faculty of Economic and Business. This faculty has a mission to be a faculty of economics and business that excels in the field of digital-based, creative economics and business with a distinctive identity. Faculty of Law. The Faculty of Law of University of PGRI Semarang is committed to develop legal knowledge, and this is done, among others, by organizing seminars, discussions, comparative studies, and field experience practices. In order to support the teaching and learning activities, we have 4 complexes of campuses. Campus 1, located at Jalan Dr. Cipto, Jalan Lontar. This campus consists of representative and modern buildings for teaching and learning activities. This campus consists of central building, main building, student activity center, library, graduate program building, as well as a representative auditorium meeting hall for national class concerts and international seminars. Campus 2, located at Jalan Sriwijaya. This campus has a hotel available for both students and public in general, as well as a large meeting room for teacher professional training programs and various other large-scale meetings. Campus 3, located at Jalan Bendan Duo. This campus has a building for students' practices, especially mechanical and electrical engineering department students. This campus supports various activities to increase electrical, mechanical, and architecture skills. Campus 4, located at Jalan Gajah. This campus has a teaching learning building complex and sports centers including basketball, badminton, futsal, and other athletic sports activities. This campus also has a dormitory building provided for students, as well as a high school laboratory school, which was established by the Universitas PGRI Semarang. Why do you have to choose Ugris as a place to study? We realize the importance of international relation to connect the discourse currently developing in the international world. This is where we establish a collaboration to open up opportunities for career later through students and lecture exchanges, credit transfer and double degree program, joint internship and research, and publication with our reputable university partners. We believe that in our fast-paced and competitive world, there are basic competencies every young generation has to possess, namely excellence and distinction. Excellence in either emotional and spiritual intelligence and the ability to retain the personality as a cultured human being. Please join Ugris. Universitas PG.
Good morning, International Webinar Conference presenters and participants. Welcome to the 6th International Conference on Education and Social Sciences, Icesre, hosted by Institution of Research and Community Services Universitas PGRI Semarang on the 6th October 2023. Before we begin, allow me, Dwi Vitalia, as the Master of Ceremony, to read the conduct of the program. First, participants should display your full name and code as shown in the program book. Second, participants should activate the camera and disable the microphone during the opening ceremony and plenary sessions. The third, there will be a photo session at the end of the opening ceremony. Please cooperate. And please take a note that all presenters and co-presenters attending the conference must individually complete the registration process by submitting the registration form on the link informed in the rule of conduct in the program book. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Honorable Rector Universitas PGRI Semarang, Associate Professor Sri Suciati, Honorable Head of Institution of Research and Community Services Universitas PGRI Semarang, Associate Professor Wiaka, the Chairperson of the 6th International Conference on the Education and Social Sciences, Icesre, Associate Professor Muhtaram, keynote speakers, and distinguished guests and participants. Dear participants, before we proceed our agenda, please take a moment of silence to pray. Thank you. And now we take a moment to sing National Anthem, Indonesia Raya, and March Upgris. Please all sit upright.
Universitas PGRI, tempat dari tempat, alma matermu tercinta. Ku kenang jasamu selalu padaku, ku berjanji wujudkan karya nyata. Ku doakan pada Tuhan yang kuasa, Universitas PGRI tetap jaya.
Thank you. The next agenda is speech. The first speech and report will be delivered by the head of Institution of Research and Community Services Universitas PGRI Semarang, Associate Professor Wiyaka. The screen time is yours. I'm sorry, sir. Still mute, Mr. Wiyaka.
Okay. Honorable Rector, Vice Rector, Deans of Universitas PGRI Semarang, keynote speakers, presenters, participants, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, a very good morning to all of you. On behalf of the committee, I'm proud to be physically and virtually welcome everyone to the 6th International Conference on Education and Social Science Research 2023. This joint conference is an annual agenda hosted by Institute of Research and Community Service, Universitas PGRI Semarang. We are deeply privileged to extend our welcome to the presenters and participants who will be in this year's event. The primary aim of this conference is to facilitate the exchange of academic knowledge and foster networking opportunities among researchers and practitioners who share common interests. This year's theme, Empowering Equality and Diversity in Education and Social Science through Differentiated and Technology-Enhanced Learning, and its 11 sub-themes have attracted many presenters and participants in this year's event. Our keynote speakers have pondered these topics, and we look forward to hearing a variety of educational and social science perspectives. We warmly welcome the keynote speaker from Southern Cross University, Australia, Dr. John Charles Ryan, PhD, Dr. Christoph Fanifasi, PhD, from University of Jyväskylä, Finland, Dr. Rufus Olandre Jau, ADBC, from Federal College Education, Nigeria, and Dr. Seno Warsito from Universitas PGRI Semarang. We also extend our gratitude to Universitas PGRI Adibuwana Surabaya and Universitas PGRI Madiun as our partners in this event. We are indebted to many. Icesre has a history of success, and that trend continues this year as well. The dedication of everyone who has worked in this conference is a major quality which has helped it grow into something truly special. Finally, we extend our gratitude to all presenters for their readiness to disseminate their research findings and innovative ideas, as well as to all the participants for the enthusiastic and engaged involvement in the proceedings. The conference would not have been possible without the contribution made by you. It is anticipated that participants will experience a gratifying conference and engage in fruitful activities remotely, transcending geographical boundaries. Furthermore, it is expected that attendees will depart with cherished recollection of the conference. So please enjoy this conference. Thank you very much.
Thank you. And the next speech will be delivered by the Rector of Universitas PGRI Semarang, Associate Professor Sri Suciati. The screen time is yours.
Thank you, Bu Novi. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Ladies and gentlemen, good morning and welcome to the 6th International Conference on Education and Social Science Research 2023. It is indeed an honor to stand before you today and address this esteemed gathering of scholars, researchers, and educators from around the world. I would like to express my heartfelt gratitude to the organizing committee for their tireless efforts in putting together this conference under the theme Empowering Equality and Diversity in Education and Social Sciences through Differentiated Technology Enhanced Learning. This conference has brought together experts and scholars from diverse backgrounds, reflecting the interdisciplinary nature of our work. The scope topics ranging from education to technology, from psychology to law, and from language and literature to STEM education underscore the multifaceted approach we are taking to address the challenges and opportunities in these fields. It is through this diversity that we can gain a more comprehensive understanding of the issues at hand and devise innovative solutions. I'm pleased to introduce our distinguished keynote speakers who have made significant contributions to their respective fields. Dr. John Charles Ryan, PhD, Southern Cross University, Australia. Dr. Rufus Olanrewaju, ADBC, Federal College of Education, Nigeria. Christoph Venivesi, PhD, University of Jyväskylä, Finland, and Dr. Senowarsito, MPD, Universitas PGRI Semarang, Indonesia. I'm so pleased to report that we have received a total of 70 articles for this conference up to this point. This contribution represents the dedication and hard work of researchers from around the world who are committed to advancing knowledge in our fields. The publication of these articles in the Web of Science Index proceedings published by KNE Publishing will ensure that our research reaches a global audience and contributes to the academic discourse. In closing, I would like to express my sincere hope that the 6th International Conference on Education and Social Science Research will be a resounding success. May our collective efforts lead to a brighter and more equitable future in education and social sciences. Thank you, and I wish you all a productive and enlightening conference. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Thank you. After the speech, we would like to take a photo session with all participants. Please open your camera. Okay, first slide. Next. Next. Okay, thank you for the participants. All right, thank you once more again. Well, now without further ado, I would like to proceed the sessions by handing over the time to the moderator for the plenary sessions. Let's we welcome our moderator, Dr. Jafar Sodik.
Thank you, Bu Novi, Pak Wiaka.
Thank you, Bu Suci.
Yeah, and everybody. Thank you.
Okay, Mr. Jafar Sodik, screen time is yours.
Okay, thank you, Pak Nubi. All right, ladies and gentlemen, in about 1 hour to go, we are going to go into the plenary session. But first of all, I'd like to say hello, good morning to distinguished keynote speakers and also participants of the conference, and a very warm greeting to each of every one of you. Welcome to the plenary session of the 6th International Conference on Education and Social Science Research, year 2023, with the theme of Empowering Equality and Diversity in Education and Social Sciences through Differentiated Technology Enhanced Learning. Ladies and gentlemen, as we know that equality and diversity in education system allows all students to gain the knowledge and skills they need to participate in society and become productive members. Giving all children an equal start would result in improved economic and also social results for individuals, for regions, and also for our country. Equality and diversity in education and social sciences can have broader implications, not only for students, but also for societies as a whole. Therefore, it is essential for us educators to be aware that there is diversity in the society. So we are required to recognize, to acknowledge, and also appreciate the important differences. Dear participants, some time ago, we had the so-called personalized education, in which we should tailor the education to the students' specific requirements to provide intensive intervention in certain areas. Nowadays, the concept of differentiated instruction dictates the educators to adjust the instruction to all students' learning needs. All the students have the same learning goal, but the instruction varies based on the students' interests, preferences, strengths, and structures. To discuss such matters, ladies and gentlemen, on this special conference today, 4 distinguished speakers are gathering with us now, with delightful spirit and pride. In the first part of the plenary session, we will have the Associate Professor Dr. Sinowarsito from Universitas PGRI Semarang, Indonesia, and also Dr. John Charles Ryan, PhD, from Southern Cross University, Australia. We will have 15 minutes for question and answers and discussion before we go to the second part of the session, which will invite Mr. Christoph Penifesi, PhD, from University of Jyväskylä, Finland, and Dr. Rufus Olan Lewaju Apetisi from Federal College of Education, Nigeria. Ladies and gentlemen, before we start the first part of the plenary session, let me read the rundown for you. The first part of the plenary session will be presentation of two keynote speakers in a row, each for 25 minutes. Questions are welcome in the discussion session for 15 minutes following each session. All right, I will introduce the first speaker, keynote speaker, Associate Professor Dr. Seno Warsito, MPD, Master of Education. He is a senior lecturer in the English Language Education Study Program.
Okay, good morning, Pak Jabar.
Okay.
Thank you.
Dr. Seno, good morning. Yeah, he teaches at the undergraduate or bachelor and also graduate or master degree of Universitas PGRI Semarang. He got a doctor degree in linguistics, majoring at pragmatics from the postgraduate program of 11 Maret University Surakarta. He teaches several subjects, including general linguistics, pragmatics, curriculum, and material analysis, teaching English to young learners, educational foundation, student development, and also professional ethics in education. He is active in research and community service activities in English language education and teaching also linguistic and child-friendly education. Dr. Seno has been involved in scientific meetings and national and international seminars on educational issues, English language teaching, and child-friendly education. Right, next, let me say hello to the second keynote speakers, Dr. John Charles Ryan, PhD. Hello, sir.
Good morning, sir, and good morning, everyone.
Okay. Dr. Ryan, PhD, is a writer, teacher, critic, and ethnographer. His current affiliations are Adjunct Associate Professor at Southern Cross University and Adjunct Senior Research Fellow at the Nulungu Institute, Notre Dame University of Australia. His work comprises 18 academic books, 44 book chapters, 86 journal articles, 15 refereed conference publication, and 81 conference and symposia presentation. He has published in high impact journals. To date, Dr. Ryan has attracted around 218 US dollars in competitive international funding. Congratulations, sir. He also works on poetry and non-fiction writing. His poetry and non-fiction have been published internationally by Fremantle Press, Margaret River Press, Arc Poetry Magazine, Australian Geographic, Action, and Griffith Review. Reviews of his work have appeared in Australian Poetry, Sydney Morning Herald, The Conversation, and Weekend Australia. All right, now let me call our first speaker, Dr. Seno Warsito, with a paper entitled Enhancing Global Diversity Through Intercultural Dialogue in Teaching English as Foreign Language. Dr. Seno Warsito, time is yours.
Okay, thank you. Let me share first my PowerPoint. All right. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Salam.
Good morning, everyone. Welcome to this conference. Yeah. First of all, I would like to say thanks for the head of LPPM Universitas PGRI Semarang, and then all keynote speakers and the committee, and of course the moderator, Pak Jabar, and all joining virtually here today. As you can see on the screen, I would like to share ideas with the topics enhancing global diversity through international dialogue in teaching English as a foreign language. Let me start from this quote written by Cesar Chavez, an American labor leader and civil rights activist. We need to help students and parents cherish and preserve the ethnic and cultural diversity that nourishes and strengthens this community and this nation. Yeah, how important is for young generation to cherish and preserve ethnic, cultural, or global diversity for their nation and for global citizenship. Fostering inclusion and awareness around multicultural education for students and their parents seem to be important and relevant for facing society 5.0 era. Not only just creating greater multicultural awareness and inclusion help students with different background, but it encourages acceptance and helps prepare students to thrive in exponential digital world. Social, emotional, and behavioral wellness development is a great challenges for students to learn how to involve in a positive classroom environments and can serve as a foundation of understanding how to promote diversity in the classroom. In my presentation, I will focus on 4 major issues. The first is national education, and then English for foreign language teaching process, global diversity, and then intercultural dialogue.
Excuse me, Dr. Sino. The slide doesn't move.
Oh yeah?
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Still in the first slide, I think.
I'm sorry. I will have already moved.
Not yet, sir.
Yeah. How about this one?
Not yet, sir.
Not yet.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, sir. Maybe the slideshow is not be displayed. Their screen, but not slideshow.
Okay. Hello, Dr. Ryan. Hello, Dr. Ryan.
Oh, yes. Yes.
Yes.
Hello.
Yes, since Dr. Sino is out now, I think you can have your time now,
Okay.
Dr. Ryan. Okay.
Yes, certainly, sir. Am I audible, sir? Am I clearly heard?
Yes, clearly.
Oh, okay. Fantastic. So great. Okay. I'll just share my screen with you and then I'll be ready to go. Okay. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, everyone. Assalamualaikum. Selamat pagi semua. Hope you are doing well. It's a pleasure to join you today to speak about education for environmental and social sustainability, enhancing diversity through open access digital tools. So once again, my name is John Charles Ryan, and I am associated with Southern Cross University, which is in Lismore, New South Wales. So I open with these three images to address the connection between social and biological diversity. And that's the emphasis of my talk today. So these three images are in fact from a creative writing workshop that I held in Finland. And what I engaged the students in doing is learning about plant diversity, so botany and the science of plants, and then writing about their experiences of those plants in the greenhouse at this university campus. So the aim of that particular workshop was to enhance their knowledge and appreciation of, in this case, ecological diversity through the creative act of writing. And you can see from these pictures that the event brought together a diversity of people of many ages, many cultural backgrounds, from undergraduate students, in fact, primary school students, all the way to professors, and a diversity of plants. And for the longest time, this has been my particular interest through the academic research I've done, is to bring biological diversity into dialogue with cultural and other forms of diversity. So that's just a brief example to open with. And this is what I will discuss in particular. I'd like to introduce the concept of education for environment and sustainability, which is increasingly important in today's world, especially in higher education. I'll then turn to a set of open access online resources that are important for addressing the connection between environment and sustainability through open access digital tools. These are resources that you can integrate into your teaching in the classroom, into your assessments and other tasks that you engage the students in. And so I present these to you in the hope that you might consider adopting them in your own teaching of sustainability, environment, diversity, wherever you may be placed in terms of disciplines. I think that these can be quite useful open access tools. So the first resource is called Herbaria 3.0. The second is the Plant Humanities Lab. The third is Climate Stories Project. The fourth is called Mukurtu, which is about Indigenous research, Indigenous peoples research. And the fifth example is known as the Indigenous Foods Knowledge Network. And then I'll conclude with some more thoughts on the conjunction between social, cultural, and biological diversity in education. And we can add a fourth diversity to that, I believe, which is technological diversity. So drawing from a broad base of technological tools. Diversity in education, as we know, depends on a number of factors that interact over time. So these factors include the learners themselves, the subject matter, knowledge area, and the knowledge systems that we deal with, the epistemological paradigms that we work with, social currents. That's an important factor in diversity in education. Political context, very important in their own way, and pedagogical frameworks. So in environmental education, there may be frameworks around interactive learning for environmental justice. So that's the kind of pedagogical framework that factors into diversity education. The last two are those which I want to pay attention to in this talk. And those two are technologies and non-human agents. By non-human agents, I mean technological, non-living machines and so forth, and agents of that kind. But the term non-human comprises a diversity of elements. So it can also refer to living beings, so plants, animals, insects, also non-human or inanimate objects, rocks, soil, water, air, atmosphere. So non-human agents is a very broadly encompassing term, but it's these two that I'm particularly interested in today and how they interact. So technologies and non-human agents. Okay, you have probably seen these diagrams somewhere along the way, and these are the Sustainable Development Goals of the UN, also known as Agenda 2030. It's known as Agenda 2030 because it was formulated in 2015. 17 goals emerged from this framework that the UN developed. And the idea is to track the development of these 17 goals for sustainable development over the 15 years. So we are about halfway through the Agenda 2030 timeline as we are now in mid to late 2023. So as we know, in the present era of intensifying climate change, education for environment and social sustainability is a pressing concern. And these concerns are enshrined in the UN's Agenda 2030. I think increasingly we hear about issues such as climate change, habitat degradation, changes in the use of land, and the social inequities that arise from those ecological changes. So out of this context, these platforms that I mentioned earlier, the 5 that I'm going to introduce you to, have emerged either directly or indirectly in response to the UN Sustainable Development Goal framework. Okay, so this framework and the 5 projects that I'll outline in a moment aim to expand knowledge of science, of sustainability, environment, culture, and human nature interactions. So diversity, as we understand it broadly, as biological diversity, cultural diversity, social and technological diversity, is essential to this UN framework. So I'm going to outline these projects, and there are a few elements that I want to emphasize. The first is that they are open access. They are freely available through a standard internet connection, so they can be engaged with without any kind of paywall or even any sort of elaborate registration process. The second is that they are interactive, or even in some cases participatory. So they engage the user as a knowledge holder who has the agency to contribute to the project, in many cases by contributing stories of his or her own experiences of climate change, let's say. Interactive, participatory, and open access. These are the defining characteristics of these projects. So I'll now turn to the first, which is Herbaria 3.0. This is once again an open access participatory platform freely available at the website, just the URL shown in small lettering at the bottom of the screen. The idea of this project is to promote knowledge of plant diversity and to engage the public in recording stories about particular plant species. So the platform is set up in order to gather narrative materials so that you can not only identify yourself as a user of the platform, but also as a contributor to the platform. So it changes the hierarchy, say, of a particular group of people creating a resource to be used, shifting that paradigm to a resource created on an ongoing basis by a population with common interests, which in this case is ecological diversity. And so this is an ever-evolving resource. So what does it include? It includes written narratives, so stories, audio recordings, interviews with people who might have had particular experiences with these plants, graphic material, such as this pressed specimen shown on the screen, memories of people, poems, interviews, artworks, photographs. So it's very multimedia in that sense. So let's see what it actually addresses from a conceptual point of view. So if we have Herbaria 3.0, it's implied that there were Herbaria 1.0 and Herbaria 2.0. What does that mean? So for the project researchers, Herbaria 1.0 refers to the long history of botanical collection. And this occurred in countries such as Indonesia. It certainly occurred in Australia and elsewhere, where during the colonial era, plants were collected by naturalists. They were transported back to places like England, botanical gardens in the colonizing countries of Spain, England, the Netherlands, and so forth. And then these plant specimens from the global south oftentimes became part of these collections in the global north. So that's Herbaria 1.0 for the creators of this website. Herbaria 2.0 is the, over the last 3 decades, there's been enhanced online digital access to these reserves, to these archives. So that, for example, if you want to go look at the Kew Botanical Archive, one of the major archives of botanical specimens in the world, you can now access it digitally through the comfort of your home. So that's 2.0. 3.0 is re-engaging with this archive, botanical archive, as a concept in new ways, in creative, engaging, participatory ways that change that tradition and shift it into a new direction that addresses the needs of the moment, the urgencies of biological diversity loss and climate change pressures. So that's a bit of a background why the name 3.0 is used. Here's an example from this resource. This is called Lee, My Juniper Bonsai. It's an entry in the archive. There is a visual component, which is this pressing of the species, a juniper bonsai in particular. And this visual component is accompanied by the speaker's story of recollecting this plant, of personifying the plant as a person, as Lee, right, as an individual. And the story deals to a great extent with the speaker's tactile interaction with the plant. So touching the plant, smelling the berries, recollecting family memories of the plants and so forth. And that's the emphasis of this project. Now, the second one I'd like to mention is the Plant Humanities Lab. And this is a very recent project. It's something that's freely accessible at the URL at the bottom of the screen. And this project emphasizes the cultural histories of plants. And in emphasizing that history, of course, the project deals with issues such as globalization, imperialism, conservation, ecological awareness, and many other themes. So how does the project actually accomplish this technically? What it does is feature, once again, a broad base of materials. So illustrations such as this that come from the Botanical Historical Record, and lots of maps and interactive resources that provide a new insight into a particular species. And if we think of, let's say, maize or corn, right? This is a plant that has had an incredible cultural impact across the world. Not to mention, of course, its nutritional impact, its impact on economies and politics and spiritualities and so forth. And that's the kind of information that this resource seeks to highlight. So we can see here, this is an entry for maize, sacred plant, global commodity. You can see on the left, there is a textual account. It in fact opens with a story of recent protests in Guatemala, in fact, from 2014, where a company known as Monsanto was attempting to pass laws that would make it easier for genetically engineered seeds to be, maize seeds to be replace some more heritage varieties. So they were protesting Guatemala, and the account opens with those protests. As you read the story of the plant on the left side, you track across visual material on the right side. So in this case, you might see a map pinpointing where those protests were held. And then slowly, as you page down, you will encounter other visual material, botanical, historical information. And so it's this interplay of the text and the visual document that makes this resource very, very impactful. So this is the Plant Humanities Lab. Now, we know that climate change has intensified not only as an ecological urgency, but as a phenomenon that's in the media and that's impacting education, right? So this website is called Climate Stories Project. Once again, it's open access, it's freely available to whoever is interested, and it's participatory, so that those with particular memories or stories of climate change, particular experiences of the impacts of climate change, can in fact create stories to upload to this resource. So it's an oral history focused online interactive tool. And the idea is to humanize climate change so that it's not a global abstract phenomenon, but in fact something that's impacting people on a daily basis at the very minute level of experience. Another interesting aspect, and this is something you may consider integrating into your own teaching and your research as well, is this element known as a Climate Stories Ambassador. It's a program that's part of this project. This program trains individuals to conduct oral histories, to record stories of climate change. And so there's practical skill building involved here. So the participants in this Climate Stories Ambassador program can learn interview skills, can learn digital and video tools. And it's quite a practical, useful program. You can in fact encourage students to become climate stories ambassadors and to take part in this training. And they will then garner the tools necessary to become oral historians, ethnographers, journalists, and other individuals who are documenting the impacts of climate change on communities around the world. And In addition to that program, of course, the public is invited to contribute their own stories of climate change. Now, you could integrate this into your teaching. You could ask students to write about their experiences of climate change, or to record write down some of the narratives of those around them in their communities, and then they could go through the process of uploading the stories to this resource, to the Climate Stories project. So it's a great interactive tool that can be used for teaching environment and sustainability at the tertiary level. In fact, other levels of education as well, the younger students as well. I think this could be useful. Now, we know that climate change is having major impacts on Indigenous communities around the world. And this is because Indigenous people still rely to a great extent directly on procuring their livelihood from the land through fishing, through agriculture, and other means. So it's often a daily interaction with the environment that is part of Indigenous communities' whole way of being, right? So Mukurtu is a very interesting resource. It allows Indigenous researchers to take more agency with their research. So, for example, with Indigenous research, there may be particular cultural protocols involved. There may be sensitive cultural information, or the communities may be located in rural areas, remote locations, where this kind of technology can be applied to facilitate the researchers' own research into their communities, right? So this is Mukurtu, and the idea is to develop culturally appropriate and ethically sensitive means of research. So essentially what this does is streamline access to digital collections so that data can be recorded in the field, or people can be trained within their own communities to record cultural data. And then the process is streamlined so that data can be then collected and then delivered to archives. And so for looking at the specific logical aspects, we have a focus on lower resolution files that work better for those with limited internet availability in rural and remote locations. So have a look at Mukurtu. It's a very interesting resource.
Excuse me, sir.
Yes.
You still have 5 minutes, and
Oh,
then
thank you.
Dr. Seno will resume the presentation.
Okay, fantastic. Thank you for that information. Okay. So Mukurtu is also a project that features what's known as spokes. And these are locations across the world, and one of which is called Gather. This is based at the State Library of New South Wales in Sydney, Australia. Now, the idea of this spoke, which is essentially a community implementation of this Mukurtu technology, the Gather project based in Australia emphasizes Australian Aboriginal cultural knowledge. So some of the uses of Mukurtu are for digitally returning copies of historical photographs to Aboriginal communities, identifying individuals and locations that are featured in photographs and other materials. So having conversations with people to identify who and what's actually being shown in archival materials and historical materials, and expanding the library's collections of historical content through the addition of local knowledge. Indigenous knowledge evolves, right? It evolves in response to the demands of society and environment. And so that knowledge may change, for instance, in response to ecological changes and climate change in particular. Okay, so to conclude, I'll just mention this final project, Indigenous Foods Knowledge Network. This is another example of open access, right? So open access, participatory, user-friendly, engaging, interactive, digital innovation aimed at promoting cultural and environmental diversity. So this is a network that promotes knowledge of food security, sovereignty, and equity. Okay. And so one of the ways it accomplishes this task is to record the stories of individual communities, indigenous people and their communities who are engaged in transforming and food practices and sustaining their traditional food lifeways. All right, so you see, for instance, this is a Hopi individual who has pioneered traditional Hopi agriculture in response to climate change impacts on what are already very dry environments. So these are known as dry lands, and these are in the southwest of the United States. So once again, oral history focus, very, very important for these resources. Interactive and participatory. So thank you so much for the opportunity to speak about this topic. I think the idea of diversity is important to conceive in terms of its broad base of social, cultural, biological, and technological diversity. And I'm sure there are other diversities to be included in this equation as we consider educating for environmental and environmental sustainability. Right. So cultural and biological diversity have a clear role to play in the design of open access digital technologies. So these projects embrace multilingual, multidisciplinary, and multicultural content, allowing communication and participation beyond the research community. Thank you.
Okay, yeah.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'll just stop my share here and turn it over to you. There we go. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Okay, thank you, sir. And now Dr. Seno will resume his presentation. Time is yours, Dr. Seno.
Thank you, Pak Jafar. Thank you, John. Yeah, you have, it's okay. Yes, it's a problem with my computer, I think. Okay. Can you see my PowerPoint?
Okay, sir.
Okay. I'll try to move my
Okay.
PowerPoint. It's okay?
It works.
It works. Okay, thank you. Yeah, I'm sorry for this problems. And thanks for John Ryans that yeah, you present first. Yeah. Okay, I will continue my presentation. Yeah, I would like to review once again. Yeah, we start from some, yeah, a quote written by Cesar Chavez, an American labor leader, civil rights activist. Yeah. I think that we need to help students and parents cherish and preserve the ethnic and cultural diversity and nourish and strengthen this community and this nation. Yeah, it's mean that how important it is for young generation to cherish and preserve ethnic, cultural, or global diversity for the nation and for global citizenship, I think. Fostering inclusion and awareness around multicultural education for students and their parents seem to be important and relevant for facing society 5.0. It doesn't not only creating a multicultural awareness and inclusion help students with the different background, but it encourages acceptance and help people students to thrive in exponential deserved growth. Yeah. In my presentation, I would like to repeat once again that in my presentation, I will focus on 4 major issues. as raising national education concerns and English for foreign language teaching process, global diversity, and intercultural dialogue. And then this presentation outline is like this. The first is national education concern on global diversity in Indonesian context, and then communicative competence as the main purpose of teaching English as a foreign language, and then enhancing global diversity through intercultural dialogue. And then the initial research that I conducted relating to the implementation of global diversity in Indonesian context. And some obstacle that we have, especially in Indonesian context, in implementing global diversity in the classroom. And then the last recommendation, if I have times for presenting all, yeah. Maybe some I will skip too. Yeah. In today's interconnected worlds, global and cultural diversity is more important than ever, I think. As a people immigrate, travel, build mix of families, and the world become ever more a melting pot of culture. Global or cultural diversity helps develop and enrich our lives in ways we may not always recognize. Through exposure to different culture, tradition, and beliefs, we begin to appreciate different perspectives, ways of living, and experiences that we would have not been exposed to prior. This allows us to learn from one another and broaden our horizon. For example, when we travel to another country, we can learn about its people, history, cultures, ways of life. Through interacting with the locals, we gain insight into different values, beliefs, and daily practices which can help us learn and become more tolerant and open-minded in our home country. This cultural exchange, either abroad or within our diversities, can help to broaden our perspective and make us more empathic and compassionate to another, despite our differences. We live next doors and interact with people from dozens of culture and ethnic background daily. In the context of Indonesia, the issue of global diversity is one of the 6 main dimensions in realizing the vision of national education. The national curriculum does not only focus on developing cognitive abilities, but also attitude and behaviors, along with the identity as Indonesian and global diversity. There are 6 main dimensions of Indonesian education vision and freedom to learn curriculum. Those are the faith and piety to God Almighty and have noble characters, global diversity, cooperation, creative, critical thinking, and self-reliance. Relating to the community competence as the main purpose of teaching English as a foreign language. The interconnection of language and culture in the foreign language classroom has become natural discussion among the scholars. This idea is triggered by the changes global environment that also bring the increasing cultural diversity in many contexts. Consequently, there has been growing recognition for the needs of intercultural competence in foreign language education. community competence model which introduced by Chelsea Moria et al. Beside discourse competence, linguistic competence, actional competence, and strategic competence, this model also introduced intercultural community competence in teaching English language. It includes learners' ability to understand the language and behavior of the target community. In this case, the learner possesses both communicative competence in that language as well as skills, attitudes, values, and knowledge about the culture. When language skills and intercultural competence are linked in the language classrooms, learner can be optimally prepared for participation in a global world. By employing this, it is hoped that the learner can improve their intercultural communicative competence during learning communication skills. According to Jenkins, language have a strong, inspirable, and complex ties to culture. A learning language essentially opens a window into the culture and custom of a people. Through English teacher all over the world are focused on making sure their students acquire the linguistic skills needed to advance their nation. The Dutch language culture also play an important role in language classroom. And then the question is, why it is important to encourage global diversity in English as a foreign language teaching? And then how does intercultural dialogue enhance global diversity in English as a foreign language teaching? Diversity in and out of classroom will continue to grow. So it is essential to prepare students to adapt and evolving world and embrace those different from themselves and helping them to prepare more culturally responsive learners. There are some reasons why encouraging global diversity in English as a foreign language classes should be implemented in learning teaching process. The first reason is it helps students foster cultural awareness and understanding. Global diversity in the classroom exposes students to different culture, tradition, and perspective. This helps foster cultural awareness and understanding, promoting tolerance and empathy among students. It can reduce stereotypes and biases and encourage a more inclusive worldview. And then the second, it can practice English in real-world context. English is a global lingua franca spoken by people from various linguistic and cultural backgrounds. In a diverse English or foreign language class, a student can practice English in real-world context, preparing them for global communication and collaboration. And then the third, it exposes to the different accents, dialects, and language variation. It is valuable for English for foreign language learners. It prepares them to understand and communicate with English speakers from around the world, enhancing their language skill and adaptability. Of course, it is arranged when they meet with a student with a different background. I mean, with different background. From the different country, and then it enrich the learning environment by bringing together students with a diverse perspective, experience, and ideas. A diverse classroom enrich the learning environment by bringing together students with a diverse perspective, experiences, and ideas. This diversity can lead to more dynamic discussion, creative problem solving, and a broader range of viewpoints. And then it has also foster global citizenship, encouraging global diversity in English as a foreign language classes aligns with the goals of fostering global citizenship. It helps students develop a sense of responsibility and then interconnectedness and with the wider world, preparing them to be active and informed global citizens. Next, it provides students with the competitive edge in the job market. In today's interconnected world, employers value individuals who can communicate effectively across culture. Exposure to global diversity in English for foreign language classes can provide students with a competitive edge in the job market, I think. And also, it enhances language learnings. Diverse language background in the classroom can facilitate peer-to-peer language learning. Students may help each other with aspects of their native languages and dialects. This can aid in language acquisition. And it enriches the educational experience and promoting cross-cultural friendship. If English for foreign language classes that encourage global diversity often include cultural exchanges, which allow students to share their tradition, food, and custom. This enriches the educational experience and promotes cross-cultural friendship. It also develops student soft skills. Interacting with diverse groups of peers helps students develop important soft skills such as communication, adaptability, empathy, and conflict solution, which are valuable in both academic and real-world contexts.
Still have
It also
5 minutes, sir.
provides students. Yep.
Yeah, still have 5 minutes.
Okay. It provides students with a broader global perspective. A diverse English as a foreign language classroom can provide students with a broader global perspective. They gain insight into international issues, global trends, and different ways of approaching problems and challenges. Yeah. Here are some strategies to achieve these goals, I think. Yeah, the first is promote cultural awareness, cultural exchange programs, and then diverse reading material,
intercultural communication skill, and then multilingual environment, and then we can invite guest speakers or cultural experts, and then we can make some things like group project, and we have reflective activities. And the most important thing that I think that we still need of teacher trainings, and then assessment and feedbacks. It is the strategy. And then I don't think so that it is enough for me to present my initial research. It is only initial research that I would like to continue for the next research that deeply know wells of about global diversity, and that is implemented in teaching English teaching in English as a foreign language teaching in Indonesian context. I just give maybe summaries on this research. I conducted for the junior and senior high schools, and then it is a teacher experience among the teacher that they have experience. At least they have 10 years experience. And I would like to skip this one. I would like to show the findings. From initial research that I conducted, generally, respondents implement global diversity and integrate cultural aspect in teaching and learning process. Of course, that it is only limited on the implementation in, for example, like the kinds of texts that various texts that introduced to students, English texts, and then I found also that it is only at the level of assessment that the teacher are not implementing global diversity. It means that they don't assess the global diversity in their learning process. And then of course that the implementation of such activities can vary widely among individual teacher and schools, and may change over time based on educational policies and priorities. And then government policies and curriculum guidelines can have a significant impact on the inclusion of global diversity and cultural activities in English language education. If the curriculum emphasizes on the importance of cultural awareness and global perspective, teachers are more likely to incorporate these activities into their lesson. The culture and values of individual school can influence also whether the teacher prioritize global diversity and intercultural activities in their learning process. School that place a high value on cultural awareness and global competence are more likely to encourage their teacher to include these activities in their teaching. It is certainly obstacle that the teacher, Indonesian teacher especially, that they have. It is because of we have limited resources, and then we have national curriculum constraints, and then the language barriers, of course, and then cultural sensitivity, and maybe we have less teacher training relating to the global diversity, and then standardized of testing relating to the global diversity and cultural dialogue, also cultural communication. And then there is a little resistance to change, and then it's related to the time constraint and socioeconomic disparities and lack of inclusive materials. And it is some recommendation that we can things about. It is about cultural sensitivity training. Yeah, it's of course for teacher, and then we can have inclusive curriculums, and then promote open dialogue, and then we can invite as a guest speaker and cultural experience, etc., etc., and multilingual resources, cultural exchange program, deeper training teacher, and etc. I think that's all, Pak Jafar. Thank you. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Thank you, Dr. Seno Warsito. Now it's time for questions and answers. I see in the chat there are 2 questions. All are directed to Dr. Ryan, right? If I may read, yes. First question is from Rizma Zah. I want to ask, my question is for Dr. Ryan. One of the important issues for teachers in Indonesia today is discussing with students the impact of student behavior and sustainable practices on the local environment. Do you have any suggestion regarding this? Yeah, that's for Dr. Ryan. And also I go on to the next question by Desmira Asmi Zahra. Hello, Dr. Charles Ryan. My name is Desmira, and I am interested in the topic you have presented, and I need you to share how key sustainable development issues, for example, climate change, disaster risk reduction, biodiversity, and poverty reduction can be inserted in psychology education. Yeah.
Great. Yes, those are 2 excellent questions. I appreciate both. I'd like to respond to Rizmaya about discussing with students the impact of behavior and practices on the environment. One very simple tool, but powerful tool you can use is known as the ecological footprint tool. There is a URL that I put in the chat, and how it works is you ask the students to complete this ecological footprint survey. So the students will, for example, indicate how often they might drive, other factors. And this application, free online open access application, develops what's known as an ecological footprint. So the student will learn at that rate of consumption, how many Earths would be required if everyone adopted my kind of consumption. So I did this with students in America. They completed the survey. They learned that if everyone consumed as much as they do, there would need to be 4 Earths, 5 Earths, right? That are most of our consumption is unsustainable. So I recommend, number 1, using the ecological footprint tool. That's a great way to embed sustainability into your teaching. And there are lots of other strategies, including using in the field learning experiences. So you might go, for example, to, it could be a local waste facility where students can see how municipal waste is being handled. Now, this can be integrated into a variety of disciplines because environment is so essential. So thank you for that question. And the second, to Desmira, Desmira's is the second question. Thank you for that. In terms of how issues of climate change, biodiversity, and others can be integrated into psychology education. A great starting point is the large body of research known as eco-psychology, which looks at the interconnection between environment and psychology. It includes a variety of issues, including what kinds of psychological changes, behavioral changes are necessary to adopting more sustainable behaviors, to having greater empathy for the environment, to having the kind of spirit to make change. So I would say begin with that eco-psychology research and take it from there. There's lots of practical strategies for integrating environmental topics into psychology education. So thank you for both questions.
Okay, so we have 2 more minutes to answer the last question from the chat. Right? Yeah. Hello, hi, Dr. Ryan. I am Bintang from the English department. I'm very interested in the issues of education for environmental and social sustainability. As I focus on ELT, how possible those topics of environmental and social sustainability can be implemented in teaching beginner students in learning English? What kind of assessment process that can be used by the teachers to evaluate them regularly? Okay, that's question. Sir.
Yeah, excellent question. So I believe that you can develop a number of strategies in an ELT environment. Sustainability education requires, to a great extent, increased vocabulary for the natural world. So if students can talk about particular plants and animals and environmental issues and learn the vocabulary and be able to become fluent in discussing those issues, it's very important, I think, in ELT environments. So for example, you might develop a lesson around becoming aware of your local plant life. So let's look at the teak tree. Let's look at tamarind. Let's look at banyan, right? And so as the students are learning about the plants, they're learning about they're learning English language. They're increasing their capacity in English language. They're also learning about the environment. Another strategy you might use is role playing, where let's say you have a scenario of the student goes back home and wants to discuss some issue they've learned about in class, let's say climate change, and there's one student might play the father, one student might play, another student in the group might play the mother, another student in the group might play the sister, for example. And so there might be this dialogue, this role-playing dialogue where the family discusses an issue like climate change. That could be an excellent strategy for building conversational skill around environmental issues. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, sir. I'm afraid that we don't have time anymore to give question to both Dr. Ryan and also Dr. Seno Warsito. And before we end the first part of this plenary session, I'd like to make the summary of both Dr. Ryan and also Dr. Seno Warsito. That Dr. Ryan has shared with us his interest in the connection of social and biological diversity with the technological or digital tools in education. He stressed the use of digital tools and processes which requires the collective design of more open and collaborative networks, such as digital pathways for the collection of literature that play a social, psychological, spiritual, and political role in a richer diversity community. And Dr. Seno Warsito has suggested the implementation of diversity in classroom, which can be a rewarding and also challenging action or activity. The recommendations are, among others, cultural sensitivity training, cultural exchange, experiences, and also an inclusive curriculum. Well, I think we should say thank you for both speakers, for Dr. Ryan and also Dr. Seno Warsito, for his valuable sharing of experience and also knowledge. Thank you, sir.
Yeah, you're welcome. Thank you. Thank you,
Thank you.
Mr. Chan, Ryan.
Yeah.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, everyone, for the chance to
Yeah.
speak with you this morning.
Okay, Dr.
Yeah.
Ryan. Right.
Thank you for all.
We are going to start the second session of this plenary session, and let me read the profile of the speakers. The first one is Dr. Rufus Olanrewaju Adebisi. Sorry if my pronunciation is not correct. Perhaps later Dr. Rufus can correct my pronunciation of the special name. Right? He received his Doctor of Philosophy from Federal College of Education, OU, and Department of Special Education and Rehabilitation Sciences, University of Jos. He is a member of many professional associations like Nigeria Association of Special Education Teachers, Nigeria Association for Exceptional Children, NICEP, and NPTA. He belongs to so many national and international research and development groups. He has published over 50 articles in both local, national, and international journals and edited books. Dr. Rufus Olanrewaju Adebisi is member of Nigeria Red Cross Society, chairman to the school management board of some of the faith-based organizations. He is currently teaching at his alma mater, Federal College of Education, OU, Nigeria. His research interest is in learning disabilities, autism spectrum disorders, and attention deficit hyperactivity disorder. The second speaker is Dr. Christoph Fenivesi. He is a researcher of STEM, science, technology, engineering, arts and mathematics, trans and multidisciplinary learning and contemporary cultural studies at the Finnish Institute for Educational Research, University of Jyväskylä, Finland. He is a member of University of Jyväskylä's Research Group for Innovative Learning Environments and Tampere University's Research Group for Education, Assessment and Learning. He is a visiting researcher of Tallinn University's Educational Innovation Collaboration Cluster. Fenivesi is Community Events Director of the Bridges Organization, the world's largest education community for the mathematics and the arts. Since 2016, he has been member of European Mathematical Society's Committee for Raising Public Awareness. His main areas of research are mathematics and art connections in learning, STEAM education, inquiry-based, cooperative, playful, and experience-oriented approaches in mathematics education, problem solving in mathematics, in science and art education, and many others interdisciplinary areas, right? And now, since Dr. Christoph has an important thing to do with the funeral of his mother in Finland. Yeah.
Excuse me, I'm Christoph. I think it's some mistaken information.
Oh, yes.
I'm all right, and my mother
Okay.
is all right.
Sorry, sir.
Okay.
Sorry, sir.
No
Okay.
problem.
Yes. Okay. Well, now it's your turn, sir, and later will be followed by the video from Dr. Rufus. You have 25 minutes to share your experience, sir, and after that, that will be followed by the video from Dr. Rufus, and then followed by a 15-minute session.
Thank you so much
Okay.
for
Yes.
the. Thank you so much for the quite the nice introduction, Dr. Jafar.
Okay.
So
Yes.
I'm really glad to be here today with you and to share the virtual stage, at least with all the respected speakers, and see the wonderful high number of participants in the conference. Actually, I'm very regular virtual and lately also physical visitor to Indonesia. I'm also an associate professor in the Pendidikan University, so the Education University of Indonesia. And I'm really glad to have also connections in Semarang. So in my talk, as long as it's a very short speech now, I rather would like to concentrate to introduce a little bit of our research and also our activities, our projects. And I would like to argue for the diversity of methods, diversity of opportunities, also in formal education, as we can see this tendency that it's very hard to distinguish between formal and informal education. And we can see that children, students are more and more excited about many other forms of learning, which is not necessarily part of the traditional school. We would like to see that how the needs-based education and the engagement opportunities are implemented also in our formal schooling, and we try to make some connections on the frontier, to say so, between formal and informal methods, and offer a diversity of experiences for the learners. And that's how we could also raise the inclusivity of education, if we have a lot to offer in our formal schooling as well. So let me skip this introduction part. It was very, very detailed, and it's a great honor. Thanks a lot, Dr. Jafar, for spending time for listing a lot of official information. So let me rather jump to the intro of our institute, the Finnish Institute for Education Research. We are an independent institute of the University of Jyväskylä. Jyväskylä is in central Finland, so we are really in the heart of Finland, both in geographical terms and both in educational terms, because actually it was our university which started the Finnish language teacher education more than 100 years ago. And our university started as an early childhood education seminar, like a kindergarten teacher seminar. And this was the first university where the teacher certificate was also possible to get by women. So we are very proud of this heritage, and definitely the education is still on the core, and teacher training is still on the core of our profile. However, in the last 50 years, our institute been very active both nationally and internationally in educational assessment. So you can see quite a few of the OECD and other global studies in connection different sectors of education, like most known, of course, is the PISA research or the TIMSS survey, and many more you can see on the screen. This is just a few of those which we nationally coordinating. So we are collecting the data in Finland, and of course we are also among the first ones who have the opportunity to work with the data. So whatever you hear about Finland in this context is pretty much connected to our work in terms of surveying the situation. And of course, many times we have also international tasks in connection with these studies when we introduce some new areas in the focus. So our research group, the Innovative Learning Environments, is focusing on the environment, of course, as a physical environment, that what kind of tools, what kind of devices we are using, in what kind of spaces we are sharing when we are learning. And it can be, of course, virtual space or digital environment as well. Nowadays, it's more and more important. However, I would like to emphasize that we, at the same time, very keen on to find out more about the mental, the psychological environments of learning. And we would like to understand that how these components in learning are coming together in the educational process. So we want to understand the learning process more precisely. And most of our research is focusing on that. And as you can see from some of these logos in this screen, STEAM education has been becoming more and more important for us in terms of projects when we are talking about our educational development and research projects, because we see that the integration between different subjects and how to go beyond the subject based learning, how to utilize those various perspectives, various assets from different educational approaches, educational perspectives. That has been very important when we talk about competence development and skill development, which is of course, and no any of the skills or any of the competencies can be linked exclusively to one subject or to another, but you really need to coordinate between different areas and different activities to have these complex competencies, complex skills developed. So, and beyond this acronym, what is STEAM, like science, technology, engineering, arts, and mathematics, I would like to emphasize that there is always a possibility to grow or shrink this acronym, but the main idea is the integration, that how you make connection between different areas, and how you build a holistic perspective on a needs-based way. So how you serve the needs of the learner on a holistic way. And here, when I mention holistic way and needs-based education, I should emphasize the well-being of the students and the teachers as well, and everybody in the society. So well-being has been a really important point for us in this research. So we would like to see that how the well-being is actually supported by the learning, by education as an overall goal. We also would like to connect all those researchers, all those teachers, all those educators who are interested in STEAM. So we have quite a few communities online available where you can also join. So if you check out STEAMnet education network and maybe Finnish Institute for Education Research, you will find quite a few connection points if you are interested to work with us, to get in touch with us. This is just a few areas where we try to focus in the university level. So we look for synergies in these areas. You can see on the screen. I just would like to emphasize that you can see learning, education in many of these areas. But you know, our university profile is much more broader than education, but the learning is everywhere, and sustainability, of course, is a recurring theme, a leading theme in all these areas. In terms of the collaborations with Indonesia, I'm very happy to lead teacher development events, professional training programs with several partners in Indonesia that has been very successful and a very interesting opportunity for us. And just to jump into the topic of today, so our library in the campus just got the main architectural prize, the Finlandia Prize in Finland, because the space itself meant to support several various ways of learning. So you can find all different kind of areas, different kind of spaces, different kind of opportunities for enjoying different learning styles, and that's also important to recognize the diversity of learning and offering diverse opportunities for learning for our students. So you can see also some images here which showing even some STEAM tools what we are using. So just to highlight some of these toolkits what we are using, especially from the mathematics and art and phenomenon-based education connections. So this is just to put you into this context where we are moving. And as you can see, there are a lot of hands-on tools, a lot of tools which are offering different kind of experiences for the learners. And many of these are also used in different areas of special education at the same time. So we can see also multiple uses of these equipments. And we do research about the use, the implementation of this equipment towards methods, approaches in different contexts. Another glimpse into my work. So as I'm traveling around the world, there are quite many opportunities to visit schools as well, which are keen to offer this kind of diverse opportunities for the students. And these are some pictures from Colombia, Bogota, from last April, where we lead a lot of hands-on workshops and took part in the inauguration of the school's makerspace. And that's another important point here to recognize that how important it is that schools, even with less resources, try to support these kind of informal spaces of learning as well, in addition to the formal education, because engagement is really important, and also to support students' imagination, their creativity in line with the innovative methods and innovative opportunities in learning. And we can see that how creativity itself is an emerging topic for us researchers, and how is it important to encourage teachers, because they have anyway a big pressure coming from different angles, different aspects. So maybe the curriculum, maybe another policy requirements are really leaving very small space for this kind of efforts. However, we are losing out the students if we don't provide the enjoyment in our learning spaces. So actually, we can't work against the formal schooling, I think, and we can't make the formal school disengaging, boring, because that's our opportunity to reach all segments of society and provide educational opportunities for all, and also to make sure that the social dynamics, the social transformation, the social shifts are possible within a formal and accessible education as well, which can be offered for all members of the society. So we can see of these school examples and how excellently many schools try to navigate within these opportunities, because also there are many challenges that what comes from the not only from the less of resources or lack of resources, but also the multiple opportunities. That's also a challenge. So we need to really prepare the teachers how to navigate between the lot of offerings and a lot of approaches available out there, and also maybe the limited amount of time, limited amount of energy, limited amount of resources. So how to find the optimum in these situations. And there are also very challenging situations in many parts of the world. So we really need to prepare the teachers during the teacher training to all these situations. So some of our project is really focusing on teacher education, teacher training, how to upgrade teachers for our world's current challenges as educators and as educational professionals. So, for example, when we are talking about competencies, that's an interesting question, that what are these competencies for multidisciplinary learning or transdisciplinary learning, and what competencies can be supported by these approaches very well. So we tried to make a connection, for example, in this STEAM upgrade project between the European Key Competence Framework for Lifelong Learning and also the Digital Competence Framework, which has been very important in the European learning area, European educational area. And also just has been released the Sustainability Competence Framework, so we can also add that very soon to our efforts to see the connection between these matrices of different competence systems. So we can see that when it comes to integration, when it comes to pedagogy, when it comes to collaborations, we can talk about various different configurations, and these need to be do you hear me? Do you hear me?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay. Thank
clear.
you, because I got some error messages from Zoom. All right. So these need to be linked together in a holistic mindset. So we are also talking about how to contribute to the growth mindset of teachers. And then just a little glimpse of those technologies. So when we talk about the infrastructural, the tool aspects. So when it comes to mathematics education, you certainly know GeoGebra, and also that how, for example, augmented reality is really easy to bring into a classroom, even with a simple mobile phone or a simple tablet. If phone is available, at least then you can have already incredible opportunities. And not to mention those still quite expensive and resource required technologies like 3D printing, which is really not available to the 95% of the schools or even more. But we must also take a look of these emerging technologies, which becoming more and more available over the years. So how a 3D printer in the classroom can be utilized to grow the amount of manipulatives, hands-on tools, but how students can make these tools also as part of their learning, and how they can learn 3D modeling while they are growing the toolkit set for their math class, for example. So there are many opportunities here, what we might be able to offer, at least as part of teacher education, to prepare teachers how to navigate between the physical, the digital realm, and how to recognize new opportunities which are coming with the emerging technologies, and how this can be linked even to cultural heritage and those kind of topics where tradition and innovation comes together very exciting way in the classroom, for example. And we can see that these efforts has been carried out in many different parts of the world at the same time. So we also try to connect these research projects and these efforts to understand more in the global perspective these opportunities. So there is no time to go into many of these research projects and educational development projects, but just to highlight a few, I mentioned the diversity of tools, but I really have to mention also the diversity of data, like big data, how to bring data in the classroom. That's another very interesting question. And we have already quite good resources, tools online available, which we can use in these terms also to focus on the sustainability opportunities and the tasks in our education. Also understanding learning process, which also a key question now for machine learning and artificial intelligence, but also in the individual learning experience. That has been an important part. So we can see that quite a few pedagogical frameworks become very important. Project-based learning, problem-centered learning, and you can see many more listed on the screen. So developing teachers' soft skills has been really important in the teacher training. So teacher training's role is really essential in this. So I think I'm started to running out of time, but
okay, yes,
I would
sir.
like to mention. I still have 1 minute. I think I want to mention that this is really important as we can see that career cycles are shrinking. That maybe 20 years ago, education meant to prepare us for our lifelong mission. But now we can see that, especially in Finland, for example, one career cycle is from 1 year to 5 years. So every 5 years, people needs to renew their profile. So this has been very important to focus more on the diversity and also that how to learn in this lifelong span. So I would have a lot more to share with you, but I think for today that was possible in terms of this time frame. But if you are interested more in our research results and more precisely these projects, please visit our website, and I'm also eager to get into touch with you for further discussion and collaboration. Thank you so much.
Sir. Yeah. I think all participants have learned, and I think they can have further contact with you if they need, and the committee will facilitate for that, sir. Yeah. Okay. Next will be the video from Dr. Rufus.
Great greeting to every one of us, the organizers of this great conference. I greet colleagues, I greet friends, co-educators, researchers, and every participant. I welcome all of you from all over the world to the 6th International Conference on Education and Social Science Research, organized by Universitas PGRI Semarang, Indonesia, on the theme, Empowering Equality and Diversity in Learning in Education and Social Science through differentiated and technological enhanced learning. I am honored and inspired by the spirit of collaboration among experts and researchers in education and social science represented at this international conference. I am grateful for the opportunity to speak with you at this conference on the topic that addresses issues of high relevance to equalizing every child, every learner, despite the fact that our school system around the world are classrooms with various level of learning learners' ability in response to disability. My task this morning is to speak on equality, quality, and diversity in learning through differentiated instruction. My name is Rufus Olariwaju at ABC. Now, our objective to be achieved at the end of this address is that the participants will be able to define equality, diversity, learning, and differentiated instruction, have better understanding on the concept of diversity in learning and differentiated instruction, also identify legislation related to equality and diversity. The concept of individual differences will also be understood, and differentiation techniques for diverse learners in the classroom will also be understood. Okay, now let's look at this scenario that talks about the equality and diversity. It is more often easier to see differences between equality and the related terms, the equity. Looking at this scenario where every child, regardless of the race, regardless of color, regardless of disability, are gathered and sent in the classroom to receive learning. Now, look at this common scenario, okay? You have already seen some of these most famous graphic of the difference between equity and equality. And from the image where the viewers we had to assume that everyone will benefit from the same support. The support is the stool or that every viewer stands on to view the game. Okay, they are being treated equally in this scenario. Then from the next image, you talk of equity. Individuals are given different supports, different materials are provided. And in that image, they are given different support to make it possible for them to have equal access to the game they are viewing. So they are treated equitably. And under normal circumstances, under universal design for learning, those are removed. The three viewers can see the game without any support or accommodation because all those inequality have been removed. Inequality has been addressed. The barriers have been removed. From the last image, talk about reality. This is the reality we find ourselves globally in our schools, okay, where materials are provided, but there are no level of equity, there are no level of equality, okay. Still, we still have people or races are still treated unequally. That is the reality we find ourselves, especially as related to education. So learners from all backgrounds should have equal education opportunity from early childhood to higher education. One might think equal learning opportunity means having computer, for instance, computer laboratory with the same number of computers and operating hours for each school. But a more equitable approach should be to operate longer opening hours and have more computers and printers at school, especially in low-income neighborhood schools, where learners are less likely to have the resources they need at home. Now, what do we talk about? What does equality mean? What does equality mean? Equality is a state of being equal, especially in status, in the rights and opportunities. Equality means each learner or group of learners is given the same resources, is given the same materials, the same opportunity, regardless of their circumstance. When we talk of equality and diversity in social and racial justice movement, equality can equally increase inequality in even a community, as not every group of learners need the same resources, need the same opportunity allocated to them in order to succeed in the classroom. So from here, equality is about creating fairer society. A society where everyone, a school where every child can participate and have the same opportunity to achieve their potential. No one had less opportunity as a result of their belief or the belief of their parents, as a result of gender, as a result of race or sexual orientation, as a result of background or family structure, and of course, as a result of disability. So equality is ensuring every learner has equal access to services, to materials, and the resources available and to be provided. So equality is also everybody has the right to be treated equally, even in the classroom. Equality is also supported by law. There are laws that guides equality and diversity. Okay. Now look at this. Look at the situation in society that put quality at focus. Low income learner in a neighborhood school, for instance, do not have access to the internet, okay, and do not even own computers, making it difficult for students or for learners to complete lessons, to complete their homework or assignment through their school's virtual learning platform or at home school during the COVID-19 pandemic. On the other hand, we have other learners throughout the neighborhood school or another neighborhood school that have affordable internet access to Wi-Fi, that have access to laptops, assistive technologies or devices, that have access to other digital tools to succeed in school. So a government of a particular district allocates funds to give each learner in that district a laptop. But because they do not have enough funds to supply both laptop and hotspots to every learner, they are unable to provide any learner with a Wi-Fi hotspot. The learner did not previously have internet access, okay, in their homes. Now they have laptop, but still cannot access their school virtual classroom, and therefore they miss lessons. They could not participate or do their homework and assignment throughout the school year. In the equitable version of this scenario, funds should be allocated to only give learners in need of laptop and hotspot instead of every learner, as not every learner needed the technology they already have to access to. So equality is a political ideal for all human beings, have equal worth, okay, and deserve equal opportunities in life, even in the classroom, regardless of race, regardless of gender, regardless of caste, regardless of socioeconomic status, and so on. Okay, so let's go forward. Equality, I can see, also recognizes inequality exists and that discrimination in the classroom need to be tackled. Under equality and diversity, instruction and services should be accessible to all. Every learner, okay, in the classroom should be treated fairly. Under equality, every learner has individual learning needs and the right to have those learning needs should also be respected. Okay. Now, on the other side, we talk of diversity. Okay. Many decades ago, when the minorities all around the world witnessed discrimination and marginalization as a result of their color, as a result of their skin, the minority could not drink water or use the same washroom as majority citizens. They were segregated in schools, have limited job opportunities, and they face discrimination in every sphere of life. Today, to allow equality and diversity in all spheres of life for everyone, and especially in our public and private schools, things have to change. Okay? And where they are still being practiced, things have to change. All marginalized groups, the racial minorities, women, girl child, learners with disability, okay, they should be treated with more respect and are getting more opportunity in life. So equality and diversity is all about ensuring that every learner has an equal opportunity to make the most of their lives and talents. Okay, so diversity is about recognizing that learners is different in various ways, as we have talked about. Diversity is enabling all learners to fulfill their own potential, whatever their background may be. Okay, it's all about creating a culture, it's about creating the practices that recognize, that value the differences of individual differences in our learner, and that also respect. So diversity means there are a lot of learners that can learn from one another because there are mutual understanding, because they need one another. Okay, so let's also look at the examples of equality and diversity. There are samples of equalities and diversity. One is the gender equality. Gender equality seeks to ensure that learners of all gender get equal opportunity. Until some decades ago, girl child in most of the developing nations did not even have the right to education. Though the situation have improved now, okay, since then, but there's still a long way to go. Okay, the next is the racial or ethnic equality. In most countries, there are laws that seek to prevent any form of racial discrimination. Some countries still practice racism in schools, despite the enacted laws in most countries of the world. Okay, colored learners continue to face many challenges from receiving adequate education to find the right employment opportunities. Okay, then age equality is another example. Age equality is all about not discriminating against someone because of their age. It ensures that learners of all ages have the same right and opportunity, despite the provision against age discrimination in employment, in public services. In many countries, older or aged learners are often subjected to unfair treatment and discrimination. The next is disability equality. Disability equality advocates for equal opportunity for learners with disabilities. Despite the implementation of various legislative measures in most countries of the world, especially in developing nations, learners with disability continue to face discrimination, okay, in multiple areas of life, including education, okay, including employment, including healthcare. Society truly embraces disability equality when it fosters inclusive environment, remove all accessibility barriers, and recognize the full potentials of individuals with disability. The next is religious equality. Religious equality is based on the principle that each person has the right to practice their education freely without discrimination. They have many laws passed worldwide to protect individuals with religious discrimination. To prosecutions continue to be reported nationwide. It is important to promote understanding and mutual respect between different religious groups to foster religious equality. We have education equality. It's all about ensuring that all learners, irrespective of their background, irrespective of their personal circumstance, have equal access to quality education. Where there has been improvement, educational disparities still exist. primarily due to factors such as socioeconomic status, race, geography, and so on and so forth. And the last one, the next there is healthcare equality. It has to do with equal access to quality healthcare, regardless of individual socioeconomic status. Despite advancement in healthcare globally, inequality still persists in this area due to economic disparity and discriminating practices. And the last one that has to do with this year conference theme, digital equality. So about ensuring that individuals and community have the same access, okay, to digital technologies. They have the same access to digital technology as the world become more digitally involved or intertwined. Those who lack such access are at a significant disadvantage economically and socially, even educationally. So the digital divide tends to affect low-income families and individuals in rural areas more severely. Okay, many low economic nations still find this as a big challenge, especially in developing nations, to meet the digital world. Promoting digital equality requires making technology accessible and affordable for everyone, along with providing necessary digital literacy training. Let's look at the laws. What are those laws? Laws of equality and diversity. Originally, there were various pieces of legislation in place that protected people from discrimination based on various characteristics of their identity. There are laws of Sex Discrimination Act of 1975. There are Race Relations Act of 1976, and even Disability Discrimination Act of 1995, just a few. But in 2010, the Equality Act of 2010 replaced these multiple pieces of legislation in an attempt to simplify the act and bring together all anti-discrimination legislation under one act. The act covers an employer's legal responsibility to protect their employees from discrimination based on these 9 outline characteristics. Okay, then we have sexual orientation characteristics. These protected characteristics is where someone faces discrimination because of their sexual orientation. We have the heterosexual, straight, homosexual, gay, or sexual and asexual. But there are laws that need to protect their equality. Okay, we have religion or beliefs. Okay, characteristics. Okay, this is where someone faces discrimination because of their religion, because of their belief, or belief of their parents, and so on. Then we have gender realignment. This has to do with someone facing discrimination due to either wanting to transit from one gender to another. Then we have pregnancy and maternity. It's where someone faces discrimination due to pregnancy or maternity. Okay, then we have marriage and civil partnership. The protected characteristic is where someone faces discrimination because they are married or they are civil partnership. These are another areas of characteristics. Age is another area. It's where someone faces discrimination due to their age, they're aged or younger, too young or too old. Okay, then we talk of race. It's where someone faces discrimination because of their ethnic background, whether it's white, it's black, and so on. Okay, then we have sex, where someone faces discrimination because of their sex, and lastly, because of their disability. Okay, these protected characteristics where someone faces discrimination due to either their mental or physical or sensory disability. Okay, so that is it. The law that has to do with law of equality and diversity. Then, looking at how this intertwine together into differentiated instruction. Okay, what do we mean by differentiated instruction? Differentiation instruction is a way of teaching that tailors instruction to meet all learner needs or learning needs. Okay, instead of teaching the entire class at one level of difficulty or using a single instructional strategy, the educators or teacher can practice differentiation to give learner option for taking in the information, for the learner to understand the concept and even demonstrate what they learn. So it is all about getting the information to learners at a pace and at a time that allow them to learn. So differentiation instruction is doing what is fair for all learners because you are considering their learning styles. It means creating multiple paths so that learners of different ability, learners of different interests and needs experience equal appropriate way to learn. What are the rationale for differentiated learner? Why do we need differentiated learner in our digital classroom? Okay, we have different level because in our classroom possess different level of readiness in our learner. Readiness means learner's knowledge and skill level regarding given content. It refers to the learner's knowledge and the skill level regarding their content. A learner's readiness might vary across subjects, across the content area. Additionally, a learner readiness may be influenced by his or her background knowledge, by his or her life experiences or previous learning. So teachers can determine the level at which a learner is working in a given subject area through both formal and informal assessment. Another rationale is the different ability level. Teaching learner with various ability levels involve creativity. It involves time. It involves a desire to understand how a learner learns best. With the right tools, teachers can teach each of their learners, no matter how different the learners, the styles of learning of that child or learner can be. The next is the different cognitive needs. Cognitive skills assist this process of learning in our learners. These skills bring academic success to learners and enable them to effectively read, to think, to prioritize, to understand, plan, to remember, and solve problems. When cognitive skills are strong, learners pick up things faster, more easily, and they have fun with it. The next has to do with interest. Okay, interest. Understanding your learner interests will help you to provide them with quality learning opportunities by giving them the opportunity to explore areas they are interested in. For instance, in the environment, they will be more likely to engage with the learning process in the classroom. Okay, so what do we? How can teachers differentiate? How can teachers adopt differentiation? They can do it in three ways. They look at the content, they differentiate according to process, they differentiate according to products. Okay, so let's look at each of these differentiation type, one after the other. Differentiating content. Content is the actual material that learner needs to learn within the curriculum. When looking at the new materials, teachers should ask themselves, how can present the content in a way that will be accessible to all learners? Planning different ways to deliver the materials can make this happen. Okay, for instance, a teacher can present the material to the class as a whole using a variety of delivery methods, including computer programs, hand-on craft projects, video clips, visual demonstrations. Just make sure the delivery method used speak each level of learning found in the classroom. Another way a teacher can differentiate is process. This has to do with the meaning and making sense of the content. It involves the way in which learners engage with and learn content. This is the key as it allows learners to make the time to let newly obtained knowledge sink into the brain of the learner. Process also gives learners the opportunity to figure out what they may and what they may not understand. Okay, the process can be used as a way for teachers to monitor and assess a learner's progress. Okay, for instance, it is recommended that teachers design 1 or 2 processing experience, okay, for every 30 minutes of instruction. And these experiences give learners a break and teacher on time to find out who need additional instruction and who does not need instruction. Okay, so the last way teacher can differentiate is through products. This is showing what is known and able to be done. Okay, products are the projects, they are the assignment that encourage learners to apply content in situations. Okay, inside the classroom and outside the classroom. For instance, once content is presented and processing time has been given, you ask your learner to develop a project on their own that best exemplify what was learned. Okay, younger learner may create poster boards with pictures and labels, while other learners develop or make drawings. So teachers may want to give learners a set of options to choose from and even allow them to work. Allow them to work in groups. This is giving them opportunity to explore within their own ability. Okay, so differentiation is learner-centered. In this scenario, they are learner-centered. They are the best practice that every school all over the world must adopt. They contain different approaches to instruction. They may engage students different type of activities for students or for learners in group. It's a multiple approach to content, to products, to process. It's another way of thinking and planning, and it's very flexible grouping because you are given opportunity for your learner to explore. So, because of our time, I'm time bound by this address. Why should you build equality and diversity in our classroom? It's to develop learners' ability and skill. So learner will have the right to have their differences respected, regardless of where they come from, regardless of their background. They will be treated, there will be fair treatment, even in the classroom. Okay, all barriers to equal opportunity will be removed. Okay, there will be interest and appropriate.
All right. Yeah, that's the end of the video presentation from Dr. Adebisi. And since he is not present with us because he is attending the cremation ceremony of his late mother, and so we just go on to Professor Christoph Vanivesi, PhD, to respond to the questions from the participants, which can be seen from the chat. Yeah, if I may read one of this chat, Professor Christoph. Hi,
Thank you.
I'm Ukimanu Suki. I would like to ask about what should be considered while the mathematics teachers developing the STEAM education projects to foster the students' 21st century skills.
That's a very relevant question.
Okay.
I think mathematics teachers, like other teachers, should consider that multidisciplinary education or transdisciplinary education is not a one-person project, but they need to collaborate with teachers of other subjects, and other capacities need to complete each other. So first of all, what is very important is to find a way to collaborate between the teachers. That's really important. And in the collaboration, they need to discuss and discover like those areas where the conversation can be impactful to each other's learning goals. So that's really important to reflecting on the learning goals and finding the alignments and connections on the basis of the matchmaking between the learning goals. And especially when it comes to mathematics education, math educators have a superpower, which is problem solving. So this is really central for mathematics learning. And we know that problem solving competence and related skills are really key to the 21st century skill competence framework as well. So I think mathematics educators have very good chance to carry out STEAM education and becoming a really important part of this educational endeavor.
Okay, sir. Yeah, the collaboration, cooperation between learners and also the teachers and the schools. Okay, one more question, sir. From Desmira Asmi Zahra. I want to ask about how can schools effectively implement strategies to nurture creativity and innovation among students? And what roles do STEAM subjects play in fostering these skills in the education system? Thank you.
Okay, that's another key question, of course, a very broad one, but to give a very brief answer, that optimally we should look at schools as creative ecosystems. So not like, you know, just a collection of different departments and collection of different experts, but really as ecosystems, which you know, from ecology, these are very sensitive systems where you change one component or one element is missing, and the whole system works or collapse on a different way. But what if creativity would be the connecting aspect of the ecosystem as a school? And what if the school could open more possibilities for all of those who are part of this ecosystem? I think that's the real challenge, and that's the real opportunity. So it's also a very complex leadership question, educational leadership related question to regard school as a creative ecosystem, and also to implement those kind of leadership characteristics, and also educational characteristics which are for the society, for the community. So these pro-social attitudes which are nurturing creativity for sure.
Okay, okay, sir. Yeah, this will be the last question, I hope. This question is from Dr. Intan Indiati, yeah, a senior lecturer from Universitas PGRI Semarang. I'd like to ask a question to Christoph. How will you involve parents, local communities, and industry partners in supporting STEAM education? Thank you.
Okay, wonderful question. I'm really happy for these very relevant questions. Thanks a lot. These are really hitting in the middle of this whole problematics and questions. So we started to recognize in Finland that education and learning is not really only the school's mission uniquely, but you need all the external participants and actors in learning. So you really need to involve like local industries, local businesses, and let them to share their work-related experiences in the school as well, and try to link those problems, those questions, those challenges, what these professions, what these real life experiences brings into school to learning. How also learning can be centered to serve a local problem. So not only like textbook-based learning, but learning by doing. And when I say learning by doing, what if you would do a project which solve a real world problem around the school? And of course, parents' support is the most important, and also to give the parents insight into the pedagogical methods, how they can support their children at home, because actually it's only a very limited time what these children are spending in the school, and a large part of their life and very impactful part of their life is happening outside of the school. So how you can be also a mentor, how you can be a coach, how you can be an advisor, a professional advisor with your pedagogical background, also for parents, how you can be a partner of the parents in their mission. So I think that's another role of the teachers, what needs to be taken very seriously, and we need to prepare the teachers for this role in teacher education. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Christoph Venivesi. Well, in the last minute, I'd like to give a comment on Dr. Christoph Venivesi's presentation, that you have shared a lot during your 25 minutes presentation, that you share the STEAM contribution to the education in Finland, also collaboration with Indonesia's partners to develop open space building or libraries, and also informal spaces for learning. And also you share information about the relation between digital and physical learning resources. And one interesting information is that in Finland, career profile only lasts for 1 to 5 years. Is that true? And
well, yeah. Sorry, please go on. Yes.
Yes, sir.
Do you want to continue, or
okay? Then the last one. Yeah, you have just given the example of the best education system in the world results in the most prosperous country in the world, Finland. Okay.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Dr. Jafar, for your very kind words. I really hope to meet you soon in person, and continue this conversation in person. just to respond your question about the career cycles, yes, it's really dramatically shrinking this, and when I need to add that also the life expectancy is growing, then we really talk about a new midlife. This age construction is changing, and nowadays when we talk about higher education, let me switch to the higher education. We should recognize that our main target group, that who is the learner, is an extremely diverse group. It's not anymore just the youngest ones who are leaving the basic education. Not they are currently our main target group, but we need to see the senior, the third age people coming in a very large number, and also the work world is also there, which we need to serve from the higher education. So there is a very big change now, the transformation process of the higher education, when we see the social role of higher education larger than before any time. So this lifelong learning mission is really needs to serve a very highly diverse group of learners. So that's what is happening. And this is really important when you add this information about the career cycle, that reskilling is really important, and this should come in large part from the higher education, and this needs to be provided for a very diverse society.
Okay, thank you very much, Professor Christoph Venifesi,
Thank you so much,
PhD.
Dr. Jafar.
Okay, and we hope to see you again soon in another international conference hosted by Universitas PGRI Semarang.
Yes, exactly. Thank you so much. Pleasure to meet you.
Yes, and thank you for all the presenters for presenting their material or information during the plenary session. Next, we would like to inform to all the participants that it's time to go to the parallel sessions, and therefore you are pleased to move to the breakout room according to the conference program book. Yeah. Thank you. Times for the Master of Ceremony.
Bapak Ibu, kami informasikan Bapak Ibu yang belum masuk ke breakout room, silahkan segera memasuki ruang atau ke breakout room. Bagi Bapak Ibu yang ingin memasuki breakout room dan dimasukkan oleh panitia, mohon di-rename sesuai dengan yang ada di program book. Sekali lagi, Bapak Ibu yang rename akunnya belum di-rename sesuai dengan rename akun dari program book, silakan Bapak Ibu bisa merename ulang dulu agar panitia bisa memasukkan Bapak Ibu semuanya ke dalam breakout room. Terima kasih. Nah, informasi kembali Bapak Ibu, silahkan mengubah akun Zoom Bapak Ibu sesuai dengan nama yang ada di program book agar panitia bisa membantu Bapak Ibu untuk memasukkan Bapak Ibu ke dalam ruang breakout room. Terima kasih. Dan kami informasikan juga untuk partisipan, seluruh peserta yang bukan autor, bukan pemakalah, Bapak Ibu semuanya bisa memilih ruang breakout room sesuai dengan keinginan Bapak Ibu semuanya. Jadi selain pemakalah, silahkan bisa memilih ruang breakout room sesuai dengan pilihan para peserta sendiri. Namun untuk presenter atau pemakalah, silahkan mengubah akun Zoom-nya sesuai dengan nama di program book agar panitia bisa memastikan kepada Bapak Ibu semua bahwa Bapak Ibu sudah memasuki ruang breakout room. Kembali menginformasikan Bapak Ibu yang belum masuk ke board atau breakout room, silakan Bapak Ibu bisa mengaktifkan diri terlebih dahulu dengan mengubah akun Zoom-nya masing-masing agar panitia bisa memastikan Bapak Ibu untuk bergabung ke ruang sesuai dengan pengaturan panitia. Dan bagi seluruh peserta yang ingin memasuki board atau breakout room, maka kami mohon peserta bisa memilih sendiri board mana yang akan sudah masuk.
Thank you.